Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Saloon Podcast. As usual, I'm your host, Mirage, and I'm typically and also as usual I'm being joined by Burner, or alternatively known as Coma.
What up, y'all? How you doing?
And this time around we're going to revisit Pokemon again, but we're not talking about red, blue, and yellow, so don't get your hair on a twist.
Yeah.
Because we're actually going to be discussing Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus this time around,
So
because
essentially,
those were just revealed.
yeah.
Oh,
So essentially, we're just gonna give our thoughts on the latest Pokemon Presents because they gave us a lot of news. We felt like talking about it. RBY can wait another year or so before we talk about that game because we really don't want to do it. So
it'd be a terrible idea considering how little experience we have with Red, Blue, and Yellow, but it's whatever, so we'll hold off on it for now.
yeah,
Oh, excuse me. Anyway, so regarding Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, oh man. So what do I think of it so far? Or what do we think of it so far? On my side of the yeah, I can't talk. From my perspective, I think it's pretty good. You know, I don't think the visuals are the best. I know I know personally that Game Freak could do, well, not Game Freak. I know Ilka, my bad, because Ilka's actually working on this and not Game Freak.
thank you.
Ilka could do a lot better. Uh, I know most people complained about the fact that this is uh, that we shouldn't have Sword and Shield as our set standard of comparison, and I do agree, but at the same time, I'd rather just be more appreciative of the fact that it's not another Sword and Shield. I'm glad
Yeah,
that its visuals are actually better by a long shot, but again, I do also agree that Sword and Shield should not be our again standard of comparison for
right.
comparison. So, but my general thoughts, aside from the visuals, I was surprised about the fact that they actually tried to, well, accurately replicate the idea of the game being played from a top-down perspective, how everything was all shrunken down and stuff.
Yeah, that was
And
like. Oh, sorry.
no, go on.
Yeah,
No,
that
no,
was
go
like
on.
that was like one of the things that stood out to me the most when the reveal trailer came out for the game. Is like it's the same, but it's different. It's not like your typical Pokemon remake in the sense that it's just using the same engine and it just recreates everything using like the um, the Ruby Sapphire Emerald engine or the Diamond Pearl Platinum engine or the X and Y engine, so on and so forth.
Yeah, it's very, very bizarre. So the thing about Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is that, as you would expect, it's not using sprites, but instead it's using models. But the fact that its models are really short and stubby and have like the same sort of proportions that are reminiscent of the 2D in-game sprites that that they used for Diamond Pearl and Platinum originally, it's very interesting, I think, and yet simultaneously bizarre. It's
Yeah,
surreal, for lack of a better term. And I say that it's surreal because I don't think this is anything that any of us were particularly expecting. We
yeah,
were probably expecting something that was more along the lines of, well, Sword and Shield, except it's in the Sinnoh region.
yeah. But at the end of the day, I'm happy that it isn't just a blatant copy of Sword and Shield because as much as I do like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, it just feels too similar to X and Y.
Well, to be fair, I do have a counter argument for that. It it does feel similar to X and Y. I don't see what else they're gonna do with it. You could technically make the same argument with like Fire Red and Leaf Green being too similar to Ruby Sapphire and Emerald, or Heart Gold and Soul Silver being too similar to Diamond and Pearl.
Hmm,
I
touche.
mean, it's using the same engine.
It
I
is.
don't see what. I don't see why you need to make it any more different. Point being, though, is that I honestly was completely gobsmacked by it being by reverting it completely reverting back to the uh the top down view with the chibified characters again. It just took me by surprise. Like I genuinely was expecting it to be visually very much like Sword and Shield, but no, I guess not. But I don't have a problem with it.
Mm-mm.
Not at all. Far
Neither
from it,
do I.
actually. I, mm, you know, I do find it a little bizarre and very surreal, but that's really what I think of it personally. But I don't think it's bad by any means.
It's fast.
It's just
Yeah.
something I'd have to adjust to a bit, but I could get used to it.
It's
I
definitely
don't
an
really have that much
acquired. Oh,
taste. Yeah,
yeah.
it's just like look at it from the standpoint of it being what is it, like white wine or something like that. It's very much like white wine.
Or
It's an
coffee.
acquired taste. Hopefully that analogy actually made sense. But it's very much like white wine. It's an acquired taste that you have to sort of get used to yourself.
Yeah.
So, um, yeah, I don't really have a problem with the game. In terms of gameplay, though, so far, uh, regarding like what I think they're gonna do, um, well, that's a tough question because you see, the game doesn't seem to present itself as a remake. In fact, based on what we've seen so far, it seems to be quite rather faithful to the original games. And when I mean faithful, I mean like stupidly faithful.
Uh huh.
So much so to the point where they've barely made any changes or additions. So to
If
say that it's a remake is a bit contradicting, because remakes usually imply that it's a similar experience, but there are a bunch of new game changes that really make the game, well, a new experience.
yeah.
This doesn't really have anything new to offer so far.
Right. Right. So
So it's contradicting.
if
So it's accurate to the original titles, but at the same time, it clearly states it's a remake and not a remaster. So you're thinking, why call it a remake if it presents itself as a remaster? It's very bizarre. But if they are going to add anything new, this
Mega
is what I
Evolution.
feel as though they're gonna. Yeah, that's one of the things. They're going to probably bring back Mega Evolutions. It seems like the most plausible thing that I
Mm-hmm.
think they're going to try and do. Uh, Not only do I think they're going to bring Mega Evolutions back, I feel as though they're also going to bring back Primal reversions too for Dialga and Palkia. And I say this because of the fact that it seems like Dialga and Palkia would be the kind of Pokemon would be the kind of legendaries to have that sort of thing.
I mean, there quite
Yes, there
literally
was
is Primal Dialga in and Mystery Dungeon too. So
that as well. I forgot about that. Yeah, the Primal Dialga was already a thing to begin with, so it would make a lot of sense, and it would also make a lot of sense if they made a design for Primal Dialga in reference to Mystery Dungeon. I don't think they're gonna do that though, but theoretically speaking, if they do that, that'd be kind of cool.
yeah.
But yeah, I think they're going to actually do primal reversions and mega evolutions. As for anything else, um, they may make it so that they're probably going to make it so that there's more post game content. Like you'll be able to go out of your way to capture more legendaries and such, ones from other regions,
Hmm.
such as the legendaries from Gens 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. But that's if they actually allow you to do or to catch like legendaries from Gen 8, i.e., Zacian, Zamazenta, and Eternatus, or Solgaleo, Lunala, and uh,
Necrozma.
yeah, Necrozma. And they might do that, but I can't make any guarantees as
Yeah,
to whether or not they'll do that.
and one
But
that and the reason for that is it's something that we're going to be discussing later, but we'll get to that one in just a bit. But
yeah,
you were saying?
I was saying, wait, where was I?
Oh yeah, we were talking about what we think is going to be coming back
Oh
for
yeah.
the
So they might pull an Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire and make it so that we actually have returning legendaries again, or Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. We're not sure. Or they might even pull something similar to Sword and Shield, where they have something similar to what's it called?
Dynamax Adventures.
Yeah, Dynamax Adventures. But they might do it in they might do that. They might mix it up with that cave system thing from the original Diamond and Pearl.
Underground and then such searching for legendary Pokemon, I think is an excellent idea. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That sounds pretty interesting. But that's what I think they'll do. That's what I think they'll bring back. Um, Regarding the national decks,
Oh boy.
we're not entirely sure. I have a feeling they'll do the national decks. It is implied that they're gonna. It is very much implied that they might bring back the national decks, because I know they say somewhere that when you play through Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, that you'll be able to play with all the Pokemon that were in the original Diamond and Pearl. So I guess to an extent the national dex is present, but we're not sure whether or not if it's going to go further than what it was originally for Diamond and Pearl.
The thing that concerns me, honestly, the most is that it feels like Let's Go. And don't get me wrong, Let's Go is its own thing, but the lack of any other Pokemon aside from Cantonian Pokemon, and I guess Alolan forms and Meltan and Melmetal, I don't know. This kind of strikes me as having like only the Pokemon from Diamond and Pearl and Platinum and nothing else.
We can't say for sure though, because it's too early to make it's too early to actually say anything right now. They just revealed it not too long ago.
Right,
So,
but that's the kind of the vibe that I'm getting from it right now.
which is totally fine. I'm just saying that it's too early to really to really jump to conclusions on whether or not they're going to do it or do things that way. Um, but that's me personally. Maybe they will do things that way, or maybe they won't. Maybe they'll actually do a full on national dex. We're not entirely sure, but
Hmm.
and from what I heard, there was a reason why they cut the Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that was because of the fact that you know, they did it because of the fact that their model importing thing broke, and they didn't want it to tell anyone. So they had to like make it sound professional and say, we actually cut the Pokemon down for such and such reason for like better animations and such, which is a lie. And the animations in Sword and Shield weren't better. It's just that their model importer was completely screwed. So
Yeah,
they had to
but
quickly come up with a lie about it, which is pretty scummy. I believe, which I think is personally scummy.
yeah, but
Uh, but I don't think the same problem will carry over to Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl,
I mean,
especially with what they're doing.
Pokemon like Starly were not in Sword and Shield, so uh, is it wrong to kind of expect a national dex? I mean, they had a couple of other years in order to make this new game, and these are the same people who are making Pokemon Home, and it is being led by the creator of Pokemon. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a little bit of a
Uh,
stickler because.
I
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say no, actually. I don't think it's wrong at all because by now you'd assume that they'd actually get their, priorities straight
Yeah, I was
because it's
willing to.
been a couple of years since Sword and Shield.
Yeah, I was willing to give the
So
benefit of the
it's a fair
doubt.
assumption.
Yeah, I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt to Sword and Shield because it was the first major Switch title and it had a very very rocky development. So I'm willing to let that slide. But as I said with a lot of other things, I'm not willing to go as easy on the Diamond and Pearl remakes because
Pokemon had a very rocky transition to 3D.
uh, uh, uh,
Okay, I'll
us,
stop.
us Sonic fans have definitely heard that joke before.
Oh,
Uh,
God, sorry.
it's okay. It's
Point
okay.
being, though, is that this Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl don't look too bad, but we
Yeah,
are very skeptical on it. We have some of our doubts, but it does look promising to a certain degree.
yeah,
I will not deny that at all. Um, Another thing, the Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl, I think. What else do I want to bring up? Uh, Aside from the things that we mentioned that they're going to change, I'm going to say that for everything else, they're probably going to leave it as the same. So
which
don't expect anything like, again, new pieces of dialogue for a bunch of characters or a bunch of new events until post game. Don't expect any of that to be changed
yeah, and
because
honestly,
again,
that's
they're trying to make.
and because they're trying to remain faithful to the original, and that and by that all means, like that's totally understandable. They did that with Fire Red Leaf Green. They did that with Heart Gold Soul Silver. Those are great remakes of the other games. I'm totally fine with them doing that.
Oh, I almost forgot. There is one more prediction I forgot to make. Uh, so this is I don't know if they're actually going to go through with this, but this seems pretty likely considering the fact that this has already been done with Oras. But my prediction, this is the last prediction here, is that they're probably going to make a platinum episode, specifically for Garatina, so that you'll be able to catch him later on.
Oh yeah,
Um,
I figured because something that I actually read is that a lot of the stuff from Platinum will be in Brilliant Diamond, Shiny Pearl. So like Pokemon like Porygon Z will be able to be gotten. So I'm not too sure about Pokemon like Darkrai, Shaman, but I'm pretty sure Giratina is in there because he was in Diamond and Pearl. So maybe Distortion Roll will be in the post game. I have no idea.
uh, it probably will be. I also want to mention that they might also. This is this sounds completely ridiculous. Like very much like a stretch, but they might actually go through with bringing the Arceus event back. They might actually like make it a thing for real this time. Where you actually have to go up to that area where you encounter Arceus and need the Azure. What is it? The Azure flute.
Yeah,
The Azure flute. Yeah. They might actually make that a thing, but again, I don't want to um, make any assumptions here or jump to any conclusions or like jump the gun.
yeah,
But I do want to say that there's a possibility they might actually do that and make the Arceus event a thing, like the proper event, not oh let's just give you Arceus level 100 Arceus and have you transfer it to Heart Gold and Soul Silver so you can get Garatina, Dialga, and Palkia in that game. No, because again, this is the remake for you know Diamond and Pearl, so and it's not like they're gonna remake Gold and uh, Silver again, and they obviously, I mean, they did Let's Go, but I don't know if they're actually gonna go through with like a Let's Go or like another set of Let's Go games. But point being is, yeah, those are all of our predictions, our general thoughts on what we think of Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl regarding its visuals and how it presents itself and such.
yeah.
Uh, now now we're going to move on to Legends Arceus, which also simultaneously takes place in Sinnoh. Well, not simultaneously, it also takes place in Sinnoh, but it takes place before the events of Diamond and Pearl. So this implies it's much earlier on in the timeline.
Yeah.
Uh, this is like during Sinnoh's infancy. I'm going to assume,
Yeah.
uh, as everything is just a bunch of villages right now, and we're in like I'm going to assume this is like closer to, you know, um, what's the word I'm looking for? This is closer to like I don't want to say medieval. It's not medieval at all. I'm just saying
Close to the industrial
it's
age, I
really
guess.
no. Well, it's taking place before the industrial age. It's
Yeah.
like some point past the Bronze Ages, I guess.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's go with that.
because you have villages and stuff. Yeah, you have villages and stuff. So it's very regressive from anything else we've seen before.
And
And
honestly
the
speaking,
one thing about this game, oh, sorry,
it's okay. I think I had a feeling that we were about to say the same thing, but like, this is very different from your typical Pokemon game right here. This game, Legends, because
it's yeah, it's also the most regressive Pokemon game we've seen so far. And what I mean by regressive is that it's regressive in terms of its story, where it takes place, and such. Um, Another thing that actually that's very interesting that strikes me in particular is the fact that we have three starters from three different regions. We have Cyndaquil, uh, we have Rowlet, and then we have
Oshawott,
Oshawott. So you have give
Johto,
me a minute. You
Alola,
have
and
Johto,
Unova.
Unova. Yeah, that's which is ironic because none of those Pokemon are from the Sinnoh region. So it makes you think, why do we have these starters
Eh,
instead of the ones in instead of the actual Sinnoh starters? It really does raise an eyebrow, doesn't it?
it
But
raises a more than a
again,
couple of
I can't.
questions.
Well, yeah, but then again, it is in this does take place during more simple times, so you know maybe there's a reason behind it. Maybe all the other regions have been more established compared to Sinnoh, and Sinnoh's just starting out.
Maybe.
So we're not really sure. Um, but obviously, as you can tell with Legends Arceus, the visuals are far better than we ever even thought they were going to be. Um, Visuals are far better. They're way cleaner. Um, the gameplay is highly intriguing, and I say this because of the fact that you're actually able to dodge roll, and not only are you able to dodge roll, you're able to catch Pokemon live. And what I mean by live is that like you're not in the middle of a battle and catching them. It's not like like you're in an RPG battle. You're actually catching them live act. Well, not live action. You're actually catching them in action. If that makes any sense, you're
Yeah.
actually throwing the ball in the overworld and catching them. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
as an action. You're not doing it within an RPG battle sequence. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And that's far more interesting. It makes it feels more like an adventure game, an exploration kind of game. And that's why Burner earlier was saying that it was very much like Breath of the Wild. This is basically Breath uh, Breath of the Wild and meets Pokemon, or Pokemon but Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, and
That's
like
what it is.
because it's very much a evolution. That's a funny joke. It's very much an evolution of what Pokemon has become. Because while Sword and Shield tried doing an open world thing with the wild area, it wasn't really that fleshed out. This though, it definitely is fleshed out. This feels like Breath of the Wild. It feels like we're in the olden days of Sinnoh. We're in the countryside. We're exploring the mountain ranges, the ponds, the meadows, the forests, and stuff like that, catching Pokemon
And
as if we were doing tasks. It feels like an adventure game, and while they may not be for me, this is definitely a
everything,
step in the right direction for Pokemon. So, I don't know. It's different, but intriguing.
yeah, it feels it. I was gonna say it's probably the most, in terms of storyline, most regressive game we've gotten, but it's also the most advanced game we've gotten. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah,
It's the most revolutionary Pokemon game we have, but yeah, it's also the most regressive in terms of story, in terms of where the game takes place. It's odd. Barely anything has been established yet, and this is, once again, as I've said before, it takes place during an era where everything was just more simple. Not everything was, finalized yet. We haven't hit the, um, you know, we haven't hit industry yet. Like, we haven't gotten to a point where everything has become technological. This is before everything became technological, as there are
yeah.
still a bunch of villages and such, very very rustic villages. So again, this, and I like that. I like the concept of going back into the past, seeing what things were like back then in comparison to how they are now. It makes you wonder where specifically this takes place in the timeline.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's our thoughts on both Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, and Legends Arceus. If
Eh,
anyone, uh, no, if anyone in particular enjoyed this episode of the Saloon Podcast, stick around for, please stay tuned for more later down the road. We might be doing, we might potentially be doing Red, Blue, and Yellow sometime in the future, but I don't think the next episode will be it.
no.
Uh, but yeah, once again, if you all enjoyed, please stay tuned. Until then, we'll see ya.
Farewell for now, Pokemon trainers.